Yeah, baby, we are live. Good morning, everybody. This is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist. Yeah, baby, we are here. Boom, boom. Good morning. Good morning, beautiful people. I'm going to go get myself a coffee. I'm driving. I just dropped off my son to school. And I'm going to go get myself a coffee. A café. Because I can. I want to talk to you guys about something that I believe it's the thing that holds you back, holds me back, holds everyone back if you're not careful. Okay? It's the numero uno thing that is, as you're driving, you are driving with the brake on. Numero uno, baby. As you're moving, you're holding on to something, and then you can't really move. It's like, it's like walking, trying to walk, and you're holding on to to the table. Some sort of baggage or something. This idea that I want to talk to you guys about is the idea of perfectionism. Now, perfectionism shows up in so many different ways for so many different people. Some people call it OCD. Some people call it, just call it different things. And there's different ways of looking at it, right? I don't know. I can't speak for every form of it. I have no idea. I just think that it's not an open heart. Perfectionism is when you don't open yourself. When you don't allow things to be the way they are. And so I would love to hear about how perfectionism, if at all, gets to you, but I'm going to share with you how it has gotten to me. Okay? The way that I've encountered perfectionism is very much an all or nothing type of thinking. It's all or nothing. Sort of finding the right way of doing things. I'm looking to find the right way of doing things and then just doing it that way without thinking that I might need something else. Now, let me give you an example. For example, if I were to build a well, let's talk about painting, because painting is what I do. So rather than giving some random examples, let me talk to you about painting. So let's say that I'm going to make a painting. I think about, well, this is the size of the canvas that makes sense to me, how I'm going to paint, the format, and these are the brushes that I'm going to be using, or this is the brush that I'm going to be using, these are the colors, and this is the winning formula, right? Sort of looking for a winning formula. These are the type of landscapes. This is the canvas. These are the brushes. These are the colors, and that's my winning formula. And sort of treating it like some sort of formula. Yeah, like a cake mix. Treating it that way, as opposed to saying, you know what? I can use anything, whatever gets me there, right? It might be a square canvas, it might be a round canvas, it might be something large, it might be something small, it might be some brushes, it might be different brushes, it might be different subject matter, it might be different colors, it might be different textures, it might be different, like not locked into something, right? Not locked into something. This is by far, okay, I'm opening up here for you guys, this is by far the worst thing that I have to deal with. It's by far the worst one. A sense of perfectionism. Let me explain it to you in a different way also. Instagram, is it Instagram that I'm going to use to grow my audience, or is it YouTube? And if it's Instagram, is it just engagement, or is it dropping photos and this and that? No, it's just engagement. I know for sure that's what it is. right? Or I know for sure that this is what it is. And so, sort of finding a formula. Don't get me wrong. Being goal-oriented and finding strategies and things like that do work, and they have gotten me a great deal of success finding my goals, reaching my goals. But at the same time, it's hurt me. And if you're dealing with any sort of perfectionism, you might want to listen to this. I believe perfectionism, based on what I understand from it, is nothing but fear. It's fear. It's not allowing chaos to appear. Life itself is pretty fucking chaotic. You know, life itself is pretty disorganized. It's not you don't have nothing is really organized. Nothing is really a formula. So I find that I have a lot of empathy for a lot of artists because when they comment or they send me emails or DMs or whatever, it feels like they're going through the same stuff that I go through as well. And so this is something that I like to talk about because I believe that it's almost never touched. When a person like me says go for it, this and that, hit your goals, hit your targets, show up and paint and whatnot. Whether you hear from me or you hear from someone else, it almost never gets, the idea of perfectionism almost never gets touched. And a lot of people, including myself, can feel crippled moving somewhere if you are just thinking about how you can control it. Perfectionism is about control, it's not about excellence. Angie says it's difficult to control an acrylic painting. It's difficult to control anything. You know, controlling anything is the problem. It's the fact that we're trying to control. So it's like a carpenter. We become, I don't know if you guys can resonate with this, but this is how I feel sometimes. It's like a carpenter trying to build a house. But I limit myself to only using 2x4s, only those wood studs, a hammer, and a certain type of nails. And I find myself chopping the wood, hitting it with a hammer rather than using a saw. And I find myself without having a tape measure or anything because something works for something, but it doesn't work for everything. Right? And what my perfectionist side does is that I want it to work for everything. If I find something that works in a corner, and if I need to nail two pieces of wood together, I think that's how just because I have a hammer and the nail, I think that's how I'm going to construct the whole thing. Just because it worked in one place doesn't mean it works everywhere else. You need other tools. You need other ways of thinking. You need to be open, right? And this has crippled me so bad in my career, and I never talk about it. I think I made a video once, I don't know, a year ago or so, but I never really talk about it. Richard says, Angie, control mindset we need to get out of. Yeah. Yeah, I come to realize that it's a form of fear, right? It's fear. Ultimately, perfectionism is fear. It's the need to control. There's so many artists who have such big trouble trying to sell their artwork. They can't because something in them tells them that they shouldn't sell it for a certain price, or that until all the ducks are in the row, you have all your ducks in a row, And until everything looks right, then you're going to go into it. And it just doesn't work that way, guys. I found that I am most productive and I become most successful when I allow anything to help me get there. Anything. When I allow anything, not everything, anything, right? I don't try to use everything, because if I try to use everything, I fall back into perfectionism, because then I'm thinking I have a formula, right? Oh, if I use, all these ingredients. No, I have all these ingredients available to me, right? This is how I'm learning to think. I have all these ingredients, all these tools available to me. At any given point in my life, I can use any of them. The magic word is any. I can use any of them at any time in order to help me move towards my goals. It is a very different way than saying this is how I'm going to do it. It's a mindset that is locked. How's it going, Karen? Good to see you. It's a mindset that is locked. And so we think that, okay, this is how I'm going to treat this. No. There's many tools. Use everything that you got, guys. Use everything. Have it available, Have everything available, but use anything that is necessary. Have everything available, but use anything from that everything that is necessary. Meaning, look, if you are trying to sell your artwork, right, or you're trying to exhibit your artwork or whatever, let me give you a simpler example, because most people are not there. Most people are trying to paint. They're trying to create artwork. If you're trying to create artwork, don't lock yourself. This is the very first thing that the artist does. They lock themselves into a style. They're like, oh, I need to have my style. Style, okay, is a form of perfectionism. Again, like we lock ourselves into this thing. People tell me, what medium do you paint? Fuck, man, I don't know. I don't tell me about mediums, please. Like, I don't care. I'll use a photograph if I need to. Right? I'll paint oils. I'll paint acrylics. I'll paint watercolors. Anything. When I'm in winning flow, right? When I'm vibrating I'm operating at a high, very high frequency, at a high vibration. I don't think about mediums, colors, paintbrushes, none of that, because that is all perfectionism. I don't think about any of that. I don't think about themes. I don't think about subject matter. I don't think about color compositions. Subject compositions. I don't think about color values. None of that matters to me. None of it matters to me. And the reason why it doesn't matter to me is because it doesn't matter at all. In the act of creation, perfectionism sips in right away when you're trying to control. You're trying to control the process and the outcome. Some people say it's just the outcome, but that's not true. Many times we try to control the process. Control anything and you're facing perfectionism. You can't control it. You can do it or not do it, but you cannot control it. And doing it, you can do it right, you can do it wrong, you can do it pretty, you can do it fugly, and it doesn't matter. The only thing you can do is do it or not do it. It's the only thing you can. You either do it or you don't. And so, I find so many people, as myself, trying to market their work, looking for what's the best website. There is no best website to market your work, guys. There is no best platform. There is no best style. If you're looking for the best and the style and the medium, if you're looking for all of that, I know what you're doing. You're hitting a very thick wall and you're ramming it with your head, hoping to break it. I know exactly what it is. Perfectionism has been one of the things that has hurt me the most in my career. Every time I'm trying to soar, right, there's always something that comes up. And so the job of the artist, I believe, is peeling away, not adding new things, but peeling away bullshit, not adding new knowledge. It looks that way in the beginning when you're learning things, but really what you're doing is you're unlearning. You're unlearning things. That's why Picasso said the artwork is the removal of the unnecessary. It's the same thing in your life. In life, when you're mastering yourself, or you're in any form of path, whether it's spiritual or self-help or any of those things, you're not adding to yourself. You're peeling away. You're cutting the excess. When you were a child, you were perfect. When you were born, you were perfect. You were thrown into the world with everything, with a throne. You were thrown into the world sitting on a throne. And little by little, all you've done, society is done, is making that. The pressure of society, the pressure to maintain a certain identity, all it's done is just that it's made you forget that you've been sitting on a throne all along. It's making you forget. And so it shows up in perfectionism. It shows up. Perfectionism ultimately is fear, guys. Ultimately, it's fear. Fear creeps in because of self-identity. You're looking for your self-identity. This is why people say, I want to be the artist of color. I want to paint landscapes. I want to be modern. I want to be classic. You're looking for your self-identity. You're playing a role, and it is hurting you. And so artists don't try to be classic. They try. Artists try to be classic. They try to be abstract. They try to be loose. I want to be the loose painter. Look, I wish on myself and on other artists this. Just create, guys. Who cares whether you're loose brush or you're bright colors or you're painting earth tones or muddy colors or dark tones or whatever? Just create. When I am in creation mode, I soar like an eagle. All of a sudden, opportunities, exhibits, commissions, money, whatever, it just flows my way. When I'm trying to control my identity of it, okay, I'm trying to control it. Oh, this is not congruent to my loose style. This is not congruent to the way that I paint. It's not congruent, right? It doesn't flow with it. It doesn't look good together. I start plummeting. It is the weirdest thing. And I see it with other artists too. I see it with myself, of course. It's not easy. It's easier to see it in other people, always. But I have to really make a conscious effort to see it in myself. I have to make a real conscious effort. It is many times it is fucking difficult to see it in myself because I think that I think I'm right. I mean, people are born not knowing, and they die knowing everything. We're so fucking crazy. We're born not knowing anything. We're born perfect, right? Not knowing is the perfection, is the perfect state. It's the true perfection, right? Not knowing. There's no such thing as perfection, but let's use it in this phrase. It's your natural state to not know. Because there's a deep intelligence. It doesn't mean you're not intelligent. It means that you don't have shit in your head, right? There's a deep intelligence in not knowing. That's why Christ and Buddha and all the sages in the world have said, be as a child, right? Because that's the natural state. Notice how children stand up, especially toddlers. Notice how they stand. They stand firm, shoulders up, and then they throw their belly forward. They throw their belly forward. They stand up, shoulders up, chin up, and they throw their belly forward. Notice toddlers. What is the very first thing we start doing as we start growing up? We put our shoulders down, we hunch back, and we put our stomach in. You know, that is the very first thing we start doing as we're growing up. Look at a little toddler. Toddlers don't care. Toddlers breathe perfectly, right? Because they breathe with their diaphragm, with their stomach, right? They intake as much as possible because they know the universe is theirs. They're one with it, right? When they breathe, look at a toddler breathe. I'm very fucking observational. I don't know if that's a word, but I sit there and observe those things. It's the artist in me. I don't know, but I sit there and I look. Look how a toddler breathes. A little toddler. Look at him breathe. A little child. When they intake air, they're not apologetic about it. They breathe with their stomach. And they breathe out. They push their stomach out. They're little Buddhas. They're walking around perfect. Right? Or if you're Christian, they're little Christ. That makes you feel nicer. Whatever. You know? And so they're perfect. I'm not religious, but I'm just whatever you want to use. They're perfect, right? They have this, they intake from life because it belongs to them, and they're just perfect, right? They're just little perfect beings. And as we start growing up, we start hunching back, you know, putting our shoulders in, and all these irrational things in life, because life is pressing on your self-identity. The reality is that life is pressing on the self-identity. In the beginning, you know you are one with the universe. You know that. When you were born, you know that. Not through knowledge, but through nature. The child doesn't question where food is going to come from. The child knows where food is going to come from. It doesn't question. The child doesn't go through stress and, oh my God, where is food going to come from? No, the child knows. The child trusts that it's going to be fed. There's a trust, right? The child knows, just like the body knows to take the next breath of air. But the child is in tune with that. As we're growing up, we start questioning where things are going to come from, how we're going to put things together for our survival. We start questioning everything, and then other people help us question even more. Right? And that's when artists start going, you become an artist, and artists start going, well, is my style congruent? Does it look like it's from the same artist? Because you're looking for your fucking identity. Everywhere you go, you're looking for your identity. You keep looking for yourself, and you can't find yourself. And you can't find yourself. So this is what perfectionism is in my point of view. Perfectionism is temporarily finding yourself through an area which you can control temporarily. Yes, I am the palette knife painter. Yes, this is perfect. This is good right here. Oh, yes, I am the landscape painter. Okay, my landscapes look like this. I found myself. I am the landscape painter. You know? I am the landscape painter. That's who I am. Oh, yes. I paint with bright colors. That's who I am. I'm the impressionist painter that paints with bright colors. That's my identity. I found myself. Finally, I found myself. I was looking for myself all along, and I found myself temporarily through this expression. And I have to control it, because if I don't control it, I will lose myself again. Just think about that for a second, guys. If I don't control it, I will lose myself again, and then it'll be so difficult to find myself again. You're constantly looking to find yourself, and you don't need to, guys. None of us need to find ourselves. No one needs to find themselves. You're there. You've been there all along. But we're always trying to find ourselves. And this is what creates, in my observation, this is what creates artists and people in general to not find success. Success, there's an unlimited, especially if you can see it in a country like, I don't know, like the U.S., like America, right? You can see abundance. It's visible, right? You can see abundance. Let me order a coffee. Speaking of abundance.
Good morning. What can we get started for you?
Can I get a venti pike place with steam half and half in classic?
You got it. Anything else?
And a venti iced coffee with half and half in classic.
Okay.
And let me have a pumpkin scone, please.
Okay.
And a cheese Danish.
The cheese Danish. Will that be all for you?
Yeah. Can you warm up the cheese Danish, please?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Will that be all for you?
Yeah, that will be all.
Great. We'll see you at the window.
Yeah. Thank you. Stay with me, guys, because I'm not finished. I gotta read the comments too, because I was driving. Let's read the comments. How's it going, Robert? How's it going? Mastery with Maria. Maria, how's it going? Maria says, yes, the higher we elevate, the more everything is just noise. Absolutely. Karen says, I so agree. Baba James says, you're filtering. Yes, that's all we're doing. Richard says, 100% makes sense. Thanks for sharing this. Maria says, yes, our soul just wants to fly. Express it. Bubba says, you're a fucking genius, man. Don't ever doubt that, bro. I love that. You're a genius, too. Richard says, this is one of your best sharing information. Thank you. And Maria says, belly's out, everyone. Belly's out is where you find peace, guys. Belly's out.
Hello, good
Hi.
morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good, good. Can I get a cup holder? Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
12:50.
Good morning, everybody.
They are a little busy.
Yeah, no,
Here we go.
that's-
And your card.
thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Jose.
What's up?
Jose.
José, tocayo.
Sí, eres mi tocayo.
Sí, gracias.
Que tengas lindo día.
Igualmente, hasta luego. All right, let's go. And so, guys, hear me out on this one. I suffered a lot from this, and I say suffer because it's a mental, it's a mental binge, right? I've binged mentally on this, and so when you binge on something mentally, the spirit suffers. You start suffering. It's a different type of suffering. It's not physical, right? It's an emotional suffering. And so every time that we get fixed on something, it creates a barrier. It's like you're getting fixed on something, guys, an idea, the way that you paint, your style or whatever. Just think of it this way, please. Next time someone asks me or wants to ask me about art styles or mediums or something, think of it this way, guys. Think of it as you're cutting circulation. You're cutting circulation from the flow. Every time that you're like, oh, I'm going to use this brush and this is all I'm going to use. You're cutting circulation, guys. When you're going to paint, use everything, anything, man. Like, get some sand and throw it in there if you need to. Whatever, you know? Like, don't cut circulation, guys. Don't cut the circulation. You're cutting the circulation of the creative process. And this is the reason, guys. I believe that this is the reason why so many artists have such a hard time creating, getting clients, selling their work, because they're constant. They're like, no, I'm just gonna use Instagram. No, I'm just gonna use YouTube to market myself. Yes, and I'm gonna master YouTube. And it's like, don't cut it, man. Like, yes, use YouTube, but also send out some handwritten notes. and pick up the phone and make a couple of phone calls and go visit someone also, right? Don't cut the circulation. It is the worst thing you can do, guys. I've experienced this over and over in my career, cutting the circulation of flow. You don't know that you're doing that because you're looking for yourself. Again, you're looking for that identity of who you're supposed to be. And you never have to look for yourself. None of us do, but we're constantly trying to. We're looking for ourselves everywhere we go. This is why people try to find joy and love and everything outside of themselves, because they're looking for themselves, right? Like, love me, right? If you don't love me, then who am I now? Who am I if I'm not even worthy of your love? You never needed the fucking love to begin with. You don't need anything. You're self-sufficient as a human being. Yes, it's nice to be loved and to feel loved and, and all the good things that come with it, the relationship, the sex, of course, but you're a sufficient human being. You don't need anything to be added to you. This is why old sages have talked about this in the past. Those of you who are Bible readers, St. Paul said, I need to become less, right? So that Christ is more in me. That which you have excess of will be taken away from you, because it's a peeling off of the bullshit. Ultimately, that is what it is. You're peeling off the bullshit. You're peeling it away. Every great master in civilization in the world has spoken about this. Every great master, because they've been in tune with it, right? And I'm not talking about it because I'm a great master or any bullshit like that. I'm talking about it because it hurts, man. That's why I'm talking about it, because I have my eye on that pain, right? It hurts. Not because I understand it, but because I can see it and I can feel it. And so if you can see it and you can feel it, guys, as well, recognize that you're not going to find yourself there. Recognize that you're not going to find yourself in any of those positions. You're not going to find yourself being the loose painter, the impressionist painter. Don't even be a fucking painter. Be an artist. And don't take on the role of the artist. It's something you do. It's not who you are. It's not your identity. It's something you do. It's ultimately nothing of what you do is who you are. Right? Nothing. I mean, in the deepest esoteric form, we are nothing. Right? We're no thing. We are nothing. We don't derive from an identity, and we don't go towards an identity. But we keep looking for ourselves. We keep looking for ourselves, and it keeps hurting. It keeps hurting. The artist, there's a history of pain with the artist, because the artist can look at something and say, I created that, therefore it's an extension of me. That painting is an extension. That we're not verbalizing this, but this is the way it feels, right? My name is on it. It's an extension of who I am. And so if the extension of who I am is not congruent to my self-identity, then great suffering comes in, right? It's like, oh, who the fuck am I now, right? If I'm not that painting, if my painting didn't come out the way I perceive myself, my identity, then who am I? And then that's where the fear and you're trying to control. Right? I have to be the water lily painter, right? I have to be the painter that creates, this type of swirly paintings. Or like, you're looking for yourself. You keep looking for yourself. Hey, what's up, Rachel? Rachel says super early live. Hell yeah, early in the morning. And so, I realized, guys, that looking for yourself, exterior of who you are, is just a vanity, and it's a painful one. It's a very high cost because you're cutting the circulation. You're cutting the circulation of money too. For those of you who are trying to monetize your circulation, period. Notice how you even have a harder time to breathe when you get fixed on things. You're cutting the circulation of that too. You cut the circulation of everything. Flow is one. Flow is one thing. It just looks like different lines. It looks like blood. It looks like water. It looks like air. It looks like money. But flow is the same fucking thing. Flow is the same thing. Creativity, it's all of it. It's the same thing. And when you cut the circulation of one thing, you're more than likely cutting the circulation of everything else. You cut the circulation of, you know what, I'm going to paint however the fuck I want. I may be a pointillist in the morning, and by the end of the night, I may be a realist, expressionist, or whatever, painter. Movement is held, absolutely. And so if you're like, no, I gotta be the realist painter. It has to look like a photograph. Otherwise, who am I? That's who I am. And so you don't allow, right? You don't allow. Allowing is the real word here. Look at water, man. This is one of my favorite movies is The Shape of Water of Guillermo del Toro. And the reason it's one of my favorite movies, it's not because when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is great. No. I found something beautiful when I saw it, but when I heard him talk about it, the deep esoteric meaning of that movie, it just blew my mind because that fucker is very smart. And I was listening to him talk about it. He was doing a conference in Mexico, and I was listening to him talking about it, and it was like, it's just mind-blowing. He talks about why the movie's named The Shape of Water, and it's because water is non-resistant. Water will... It's something that Bruce Lee said in the 70s. Water will become the shape. So water, the shape of water is whatever you want it to be. Whatever the situation is, it yields, right? The ultimate form of being a human being is to yield. Everybody's like, no, it's my way, it's my way. The ultimate way of being is to yield. That's why some religions, if you translate the word, it actually means surrender. Surrendering is powerful. It's yielding. That's why in Catholicism and Christianity, people kneel. People think that they kneel for some other bullshit reason, but if you look at the esoteric meaning of it, why people kneel, why they kneel, it's because they're yielding. It's a powerful to kneel. Because they're talking about emotional, mentally. They're not talking about physically. You don't give away your power physically. That's not what they're talking about. And so they had to remember to always kneel. To always kneel. The reverence. Yeah, but it's reverence, but the deeper cut of that is that you are water. You are as water. The reverence is that you allow. That's why every prophet has said, thy will be done. Thy will be done. Thy will be done. Why? Because I am kneeling. I am yielding to the bigger thing. I am letting it pass. Right? I am letting it pass. It's a reminder. Someone had to think of a reminder. How do we remind these fuckers? Because they can't remember. Okay, do something physical. Kneel. Because every time you kneel, you're yielding. And it's beautifully expressed in the movie Indiana Jones, the Last Crusade. It's beautifully expressed there when he's trying to go into the temple to find the Holy Grail, and he remembers that his dad said, you have to kneel. And when he kneels, he escapes the guillotine, right? He yields to life's bullshit, right? Life is about to hit him, but because he kneels, he escapes the pain. And that is life in itself. It's just beautiful expressed there, in that movie, Indiana Jones. But that is life itself. It's a constant yielding. And that's what the shape of water is, and that's what water is. Water constantly yields. Water is the highest form, right? And I'm not talking about elements here. And no, I'm just like visually, look at it. You pour it in a glass. It doesn't say, fuck this glass. I don't feel good here. No, it becomes the glass. Right? You pour it on on a plate. It doesn't say, oh my God, I'm all spread out. No, it becomes the plate. Right? How many of us, we get poured somewhere into a situation. We get poured into a situation and we say, fuck this. Like, I didn't want twins, you know, or I don't want this job. We don't become it, right? We don't yield to it. That's what water does. Water is a master, is a teacher. Is an ancient teacher. You look at it and you recognize it's a teacher. You recognize the natural behavior of life. Rachel says, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And this is why it blows my mind when people say, you know, that I think life itself, the universe, our bodies are 80%, something like 8% water. It makes so much fucking sense. Right? To me, it makes so much sense. Looking at it, water is everywhere. Of course, it has to be, because water doesn't complain about shit. Water doesn't complain, right? Water gets an illness. If water had an illness, water would say, "How do we accommodate to this? How do we become this?" It wouldn't even think, right? Water would become that. Water morphs into it, and it becomes it. It takes its form, right? It takes its form. Lana, how's it going, Lana? Lana says, water is my favorite thing to paint. Thanks for sharing this, as much as I am a sun baby. I find my peace and grounding and solace there. Beautiful. Truth bomb. But yeah, guys, and so I started this little video by telling you guys, be careful with perfectionism. It's a need to control, and it arises from fear. And if the only reason why we have fear is because we don't know who we are. The identity is lost. We don't know that we're close to the Father, that we are ultimately we are the Father, or we are the Mother, whatever you want to see it. It doesn't matter. We are the one. Ultimately, the ripple of water is the ocean. It's just confused. It doesn't think it's the ocean, right? It's an extension, right? The light is the sun. It just doesn't think it is, because it's an extension, right? It's extended, and so we're looking. Who am I? Who the fuck am I? I feel lost. I need to find myself. So that's the fear, and so you're looking for yourself, right? My perfect family, my perfect house, my perfect career. The way that I paint, and arises this fucking anxiety. Hey, how do I paint? I can't paint, you know? It's this bullshit anxiety. And it's because you're looking for yourself. You don't need to look for yourself. But we do, right? We do, and that's where the suffering comes in, because it's duality, right? We're looking outside of ourselves because we think we're two. That's why in the Bible, in different books, you know, they call it the marriage. You're attending a marriage, because a marriage is non-duality, right? You're attending a marriage. At the end of it, you're attending a marriage. Many religions talk about that. Christianity being one of them talked about it in the Bible, and people talk about it. Lana says, Rumi said, "We are not one drop in the ocean, we're the ocean in a drop." Yes. Ultimately, that's what it is. And we have a hard time understanding that. That is beautifully expressed. Maria says, we're here to sing our whole song, not just the chorus. Yeah. Rachel says, get this, the Latin meaning for desire is of the Father, meaning all of our deepest desires are given to us. Yeah. Yeah, ultimately we're looking for ourselves, and we think that we're going to find ourselves somewhere outside of us. You know, in the medium you paint, how you paint figures, how you do I use references? Do I not use references? It's perfectionism, right? It's perfectionism. It's a need to control. It's a need to control because I don't know who I am. And if I control that, then I know who I am, right? I in control you pretend to find yourself. My perfect marriage, my perfect car, my whatever, right? My perfect this I can see myself now because I can't see myself. But if I control something, if something is controlled, I remember hearing this. One of my favorite entrepreneurs out there his name is Ed Milet, and he said, being a true entrepreneur, he said, now this is not a bullshit entrepreneur. This is the hundreds of millions type of guy, right? Like he has like enormous success when it comes to the income part of it, right? And so I listen to him when it comes about money because he makes sense, right? He makes sense. And he said, a true entrepreneur is someone who accepts chaos. And I was like, fuck, it's so fucking true, man. Like every time I accept chaos, and chaos doesn't mean that it's something bad. It means that it's something unexpected. I remember reading this also in a form of this anyways, before I move on, he said, Ed Milet said, it's the people that are trying to organize and have everything look good that fail at entrepreneurship. And I was like, man, it's the people that do that in life in general that fail at it. You know, we keep hitting ourselves on the wall because we're trying to organize something, and true life is chaos. You know, I have an appointment here and another thing here and another thing here, and it becomes a game, and you're joyful in the randomness of it. And yes, you try to control some things because some things need that, right? Some things need schedules, some things need due dates, and on and on. But in that, the way you work it is chaotic, and it's okay. It's unexpected, right? It's unexpected. Look at the best movies. What happens? They're eating in London, right? They're like having lunch in London, and then that afternoon they're like in the Amazons. I don't know if you can make it to the Amazons from London, but look at the best movies, right? It's chaotic, right? It's chaotic. It's chaotic. It's one thing, one random thing. It's beautifully expressed in Forrest Gump. Look at Forrest Gump. Look what happens, right, with him. He's everything's fine. He's a little kid. Well, it's not fine, right? But it looks that way. Everything's fine. He's a little kid, and all of a sudden, all these things start happening, right? All this that make up his life, and he is like water. He accepts them all. This is one of my favorite movies. That one and The Terminal also, because he accepts, right? Tom Hanks can beautifully express that, right? He accepts in The Terminal. He accepts his destiny. Run, Forrest, run! I want to become a bird and fly far, far away. He accepts it, right? He's like, oh, well, Vietnam, okay, right? He fully embraces. It's beautiful, described also in a book called it's an old Chinese book called the Tao Te Ching. They expressed it really, really beautiful there too. Lao Tse, I think it's the name of the writer. He expresses it beautifully there too in that book. Very, very short book, but man, that's one of those sacred books, and they express that there really well, right? I think one of the passages says the master accepts all, right? Accepts everything. The master, meaning the person that is one with life, the one that masters life, it accepts the person, that person accepts things as they come. Another beautiful representation of that is the movie. I like movies too. Kung Fu Panda. If you've seen Kung Fu Panda, the turtle is the wise master, right? The old turtle is the wise master, and when Po, the panda, right, shows up as being the one, he doesn't look like anything, right? Like anything that they would want to be the ultimate, the ultimate, I don't know, champion or whatever. And he looks at him and he says, "Interesting," right? And he accepts him. He fully embraces him. Dumplings are life. He fully embraces him, right? Because he embraces life. The master embraces everything. The master takes life. Because ultimately, the master is an alchemist. The master takes base raw material, base metal, accepts it, and turns it into gold. The master turns coal and turns it into a diamond, right? The master accepts it. It doesn't judge it. It doesn't judge it. That's why the Christ would said with sinners and everyone. A lot of people don't get that still today. They think that if you're a sinner or you're an immigrant or you are a trans person or your identity is different, that in which in the roles of the world you should be an outcast, right? A lot of people still don't understand that the Christ sat with everyone and didn't say, yes, but now change your ways, right? That's what everybody thinks. They're confused. They're fucking confused about it. He wasn't trying to change anyone's ways. The master does not try to change. Changing is not love. Changing is not love. So if I just show up at the studio, if you just show up at the studio, I might be like, get out of here. No, I'm just joking. Because I'm not a master. I'm describing a master. I'll make time. It would be a perfect opportunity for me to practice acceptance. If you show up randomly to my studio. Lana says, it makes me wonder, though, at what point do we allow things to happen, or are we masters of our destiny and create the things we want to happen? I think that accepting doesn't mean... I think accepting is a powerful word that gets confused with what's this other word? This other thing, when you just accepting gets confused with I can't think of the word, but sort of when you just give up, when you're like, well, that's life, that is not a power position. Acceptance is not like, well, that's life. That sort of mentality, that's not acceptance. That is not a power position, right? Passive. Thank you so much, Lana. That is the word. Acceptance doesn't mean that you're passive. You can hold your space and be accepting at the same time, right? One of my favorite authors calls it a quality no. He says you can have quality no's. You can say, no, that's not going to work, thank you. You can use quality no's. The problem is complacent. Yes, also, yeah, you don't have to be complacent. The thing is that you don't want it to hurt you, right? You don't want it to be fixed on it, to be like, well, I have to accept things as they come. That's passive, that's being complacent. No, acceptance is, okay, this thing showed up, now let's change it, right? But if I can't change it, or if I can't change it right away, right, then it's fine. That's the difference. Let's change it, right? It's raining. Well, it's raining. What can I do? No, let's find an umbrella or a place to stay the night, right? But if I can't, and if I did everything I could and I can't, then let's sit in peace with it until it passes by, until it passes, right? That's what I'm talking about. Let's accept the fact that we're looking for a solution, and we might not find one, or we might find one, and let's do it wholeheartedly, and let's go with every inch of enthusiasm we got in ourselves, but not get fixed on it. I think you can control things. You can control things without the identification of it, right? Without, if I don't control it, oh my God, like, what's going to be of me, right? Who am I then if I can't control this? That's different. Then, shit, I'm hungry. I need to find food, right? You can't be like, well, I'm hungry. Well, that's life. I don't know where, I don't know if I should go get food or not. I guess this is what it's supposed to be. That's not power, right? Power is, I'm hungry. I'm a fucking lion. I need to eat, right? I need to eat. It's very, acceptance is a very powerful thing, and it often gets confused with being passive and with being complacent. Let me read. Jose Lana says, Jose, do you mean a passive position versus active, intentionally accepting things? Yeah, an active position of acceptance is a powerful one, right? And sometimes there is no action to be taken, right? Sometimes you can't take action, and acceptance is still powerful, right? Like, my hands are tied. I'm here in the middle of nowhere. There's not a phone. I'm going to sit here, right? I'm going to sit here. And in that acceptance, usually solutions come, right? Because that's the beauty of life. When you accept things, when you accept them, you become extremely creative. It's in the acceptance is where you become creative. You accept it and you become creative, and that's where solutions arise. Solutions don't arise from thinking. Solutions arise from acceptance, and it's not passive. You're suspending the mind, right? When you're afraid, you can't come up with solutions. You're like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? But when you're calm, right? When you're calm, when your dust is settled, another book says it. When your dust is settled, right? You're not frantic. The dust is settled on the ground. Then you're able to see clear. You're like, oh, okay, I see what to do. I see what we need to do. Right? You become creative because you have clear vision. Lana says, what author says the quality knows I'm an avid reader? Edgar Tolle. He calls them quality knows. My favorite books, some of my favorite books are by him. A New Earth, The Power of Now, and he emphasizes on this. He says to be careful and not think that it means passive. You can, if someone gives you a bad, I don't know, if you order something in the restaurant and you got the wrong dish, right? If you got the wrong dish, you can say, excuse me, right? This is not what I ordered. It doesn't have to be from oh my God, this is not why I ordered. What's wrong with you? Were you not paying attention to me when I ordered this? Oh my God, that's why I hate coming to this place. See, that's a whole different thing. Or that's one, right? That's the next a very egoic way of looking at it. Another extreme of it is like, well, I ordered pizza and I got the steak. Okay, well, I guess that's what God wanted me to have. Okay, well, I'll eat the steak even though I don't really like steak. Right? No, that has no quality. Right? The quality is, excuse me, I order pizza. Can you please change it, and I want my pizza. That's quality. Guys, this video is about to end. It's got 10 seconds to end. Thank you so much. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Bubba. Hey, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. 3, 2, 1. Boom, baby.